had a little bit of a challenge trying to reuse the 2" by 2" angle iron. It's 1/4 inch thick. It's kind of overkill even for the trailer in some ways, and it's definitely overkill for the step and for the fender mount. So after kind of fighting with it for a while, trying to reuse it, it had pieces welded on it. It had places that were ground down from cutting it off of the trailer itself. I decided to just see if I could find some better steel, and so I bought some 1" by 1" by 0.095 thickness. It's pretty good. I think it'll work great. So this is a problem. This is the way the saw cut the 45. Obviously that's not a 45, which kind of is a bummer, because that's not going to work. It's a huge gap, and so I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but Harbor Freight. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but that's much better. It turns out 45 on the saw isn't quite 45. Alright, so I got one of the step welded on, and it is very sturdy. People would probably say overkill having this many cross pieces, but I didn't want to have to worry about it. I got a little bit more welding to do and a little more cleanup, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out with this 1" square tubing. Next part I'm going to do is do a step also back here on this part of the frame. It'll be a step where just match the front, which will eventually be covered by some aluminum diamond plate. So I think it'll look really good when it's done, hopefully.
So I just wanted to share a couple of things that I learned through this process. One is, and as I mentioned before, the Harbor Freight chop saw, which is a small one. I think it's an 8" maybe a 7" chop saw. It doesn't, the 45 degree marking isn't quite 45 degrees. So a little trial and error, a little bit grabbing my square and just kind of looking at how things were coming together. I did figure out about where 45 degrees was, and I was pretty happy with the angles that it was cutting for me. But just be aware of that. As with Harbor Freight tools in general, they're not the highest quality, and you get what you pay for. And it definitely was worth it to me because I'm not going to use this saw a whole lot. So it was I was glad to save the money, but get something that would do the job. The welder that I'm using is a Harbor Freight 90 amp 110 volt welder, and it's a wire feed welder, which I like better than the stick welding. I've done stick welding in the past, but I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out, and it's a very affordable welder. I like the wire feed. It's much more convenient, I think, than stick welding, and it allows you to be closer to your work surface, which helps to be able to get a good weld. I'm not a welder by trade by any means, and so I would recommend definitely going and finding good quality videos on YouTube with people who are welders if you're looking at ways to do this better, or you're just getting into welding, because there are some tricks to it, definitely some things that you want to do to make sure your welds are good quality welds, and I will say that some of my welds are good quality welds. But I'm definitely not a welder. I wouldn't have wanted to weld anything that was structurally important. These are going to be steps. They're not going to carry weight except when you step on them, which of course is important, but you're not going to be stepping on them going down the road at 60 miles an hour. So I feel okay about welding those. I also will need to weld on some rear stabilizers, one on each side in the back, and other than that, that's about all I have left to weld. So in this video, you're seeing the completion of welding the steps on the left and right side, and I'm very happy with the way they've turned out. And so I bought several different tools that were really helpful. The vice grip clamps, those were super helpful. The magnets that are at 90-degree angles were also very helpful. This angle is the trailer actually up on its side. I tried to weld upside down, and if you've tried welding upside down, you know it's difficult, maybe impossible. So I went ahead and flipped the trailer up on its side, was able to get it up with a little bit of physics and a little muscle, but I got it up on its side. It was much easier to weld to get those bottom joints all sealed up and nice and strong. And this is me lowering it back down very carefully, and I would have preferred to have somebody helping me, but unfortunately I didn't have anyone available that day, and I wanted to get it done, so it worked.
Got it. No one died.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.